Hey everyone, I had the pleasure of talking with Ryan Serhant, an absolute rock star in the real estate industry. And we talk about a number of different things, including a steel cage match between him and Robert Refkin. Who walks out a winner? Stay tuned to hear. Hey everyone, this episode is brought to you by Lofty, the agentic AI operating system for real estate. Lofty's AI doesn't wait to be prompted. It works proactively on behalf of your agents to uncover new listing opportunities, engage leads, schedule meetings, and drive more transactions. Lofty turns every agent into a top producer. Visit lofty.com to see how agentic AI can put your business growth on autopilot. Everybody in the business of home has a pitch. Almost nobody gets asked a hard question. This show fixes that. Welcome to Signal. I'm your host, Inman CEO Tom Bohn. Each week we sit down with top producing agents, industry CEOs, prop tech founders, and the people shaping the future of the business of home. Then we break down the week's biggest headlines and decide what's signal and what's noise. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, my guest built a brokerage from zero to nearly 1,000 agents in 5 years, turned a Netflix show into a recruiting engine, and just told the industry that the whole future comes down to two names, Compass and Ryan Serhant. Ryan, welcome to The Signal. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. And we actually crossed on Friday 2,044 agents, by the way.
2,044 agents. Congratulations. That's amazing. Before we get into your incredible success, truly, in real estate, I need to ask a question that's on a lot of people's minds. You starred as Dr. Evan Walsh on As the World Turns, an evil, murderous doctor. How much of the real Ryan Serhant is in that role?
Oh, gosh. You know, he was incredibly ambitious. I think I share in some of Dr. Walsh's ambition, but he was ambitious at all costs, which is why he murdered a bunch of people and then his grandmother killed him.
Yes,
which is what happened to me, which was also known as in the actor world as being fired from a job. That's how they do it. I remember getting that script and reading it. And then it was like Evan Walsh takes syringe to the chest, wrestling with Lucinda, his grandmother. And then it just said, and I'm like, wait, but then what happens there? It's like, no, you die. I'm like, okay, but then what about tomorrow? No, you die.
You're done.
What about like no more work from? It took a second. Like it was like a little bit. It was shocking. That was a hard one.
So my son's an actor in the Upper East Side of Manhattan as well. How long before he's working for Ryan Serhant as a realtor?
Listen, I the realtor thing for me was not abnormal. There's a lot of people who go into art, theater, music, you name it, and they've tried to figure out how to make money on the side so they can survive and support themselves and buy ramen and do all the things. And if their parents aren't supporting them financially,
right.
And some are, for me, we're not.
You looked at my checkbook. Yeah.
Then you have to get a survival job. You wait tables, you bartend, you do all those things. But when you're an artist, a big part of what you're doing is selling yourself. So as an actor, I'm going to rooms with people who don't know me. They don't necessarily want to know me. They judge me in 3 seconds just based on how I look. And then second 4 and 5 is the sound of my voice. So I got 5 seconds to change a potentially poor first impression. Yeah. And then I go to try to convince them just using the tool that is my human form that I should be worth their dollars and their reputation. That's hard. And that is an incredible skill in sales. So whether you're then selling real estate or cars or insurance, a lot of artists move off to sales. And then, listen, like I fell victim a little bit to, I just paid my rent. I'm with one client for the month. What if I did that tomorrow too? Could I pay next month's rent ahead of time? That would be insane. I don't want to lose this creative. And then the power of this cell phone and the power of YouTube and Instagram, and then obviously $1 Million Listing, I was able to bring it all back together. But to go back to your original question, I am nothing like Dr. Evan Walsh IV, the murderous doctor, other than he looked exactly like me because I was him, and he was very ambitious.
He was very ambitious, very ambitious. In fact, we're going to drop a photo of you in those days here for the thing because we love to share stuff like that. So look, I think that once you're in the arts, you're always in the arts. So how much of you is an actor first, a media mogul, or a real estate tycoon? Which one of those is the real passion?
I'm a leader first and foremost. I really enjoy leading people and watching them be great. Like going back to what we just talked about, ambition. I think the people who don't like me, I think are rubbed the wrong way because they don't like my ambition. They don't like how loud or noisy I might be. But if they truly understood how many other people underneath me win when I win, they would realize that it's not actually ambition, it is unbelievable responsibility.
Isn't real estate a loud and noisy profession though? Don't you have to be to break through?
Today, I think I've made that so. But when I got into the business, no, listen, there's lots of off-market transactions. There's lots of this business that goes completely under the radar. I don't think you have to be loud to break through. I think you have to do what works for you. Like if I could have at the time been a real estate agent with no platform, I could totally have my private life to myself. I could just make money and sell homes. I'd probably choose that. There's a lot of sacrifice that comes personally with doing it the way that I've done it. That said, I've been able to move much, 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 much faster doing it my way than doing it the other way.
So if CBS calls you tomorrow and says, "Hey, Ryan, we really want you to be the new tracker. You're our guy. You look like the tracker. Let's do it." Yes or no?
One, I don't know what that is, what tracker is.
It's a #1 show in the country, but okay.
Shows you how much
second to owning Manhattan, of course.
I did email for the entirety of the World Cup. Like I just work. Like it is all I do. So the answer would probably be no, but I like experiences. I like opportunities. Netflix reached out and said, "Hey, do you want to come do our new reality show based on Squid Game with Dylan Efron and Tristan Thompson and Mel B from the Spice Girls?" And they're like, you'd have to come to London for a week. And that was in February. And I looked at my calendar and was like, I definitely cannot afford a week to go play a reality TV game show. But also, listen, when you die, they divide up all your stuff. The people who didn't really care about you say, "I'm sorry" to the people who did. There's a procession, and then everyone gets in their car and goes back to work. And slowly but surely, whatever doesn't fit in the eulogy
100%.
no longer matters. So who am I to turn down a cool opportunity? One of our agents, her whole goal of coming to work with me and doing content and et cetera was, one, make money. I want to make money. I want to help people. And I really love real estate. But two, if I could ever get on Broadway, I don't know another place in the new world of media where I could be a working professional, but also create a personality than doing it at Serhant in a professional way. And she did that. And she was just cast on 6 on Broadway.
That's
and she
awesome.
starts, I think, in the middle of August or something like that. So you will see me on Squid Game playing these ridiculous games, running for my life, being way more stressed than any real estate deal I've ever done, by the way. That was emotionally traumatizing.
I've got to love a lot of your team, the Naples group in particular, and you do recruit some wildly incredible talent. So kudos to you. Last time you were on a Inman stage, you made the very interesting comment that said there's only going to be 2 players left in the world. It's going to be Compass and it's going to be Serhant. How's that going?
Great. So far.
Do you stand by that still?
Yep. I think that was like 6 months ago.
Yep.
Listen, I think you have to, as a brokerage, if you want to be in the brokerage business, you have to make a decision. You are either empowering the property first, and then the person is the byproduct to get to the property, or you're empowering the person first, and the person is the product to get to the property. And it might be the wrong decision. I don't know, but I empower the person. Our tech empowers the people. Our brand empowers the people. Everything we do, I do this as a living. I sell real estate alongside our agents. I get off with you and I race to the airport and I go to Texas to open Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas, all with agents by the way, who were paid so much money to go to Compass, who come to us for free. I buy $0 of revenue. All 2,044 agents who've joined us up until last Friday, I don't know what it's going to be today, come not for money, because if you come for the money, you stay for the money. They come for the opportunity and they stay for the results. That's why my GCI retention is 99.2% amortized over those, what has it been, 5 years that I've been doing this. And so we are very, very much about the person. I think the brokerage industry as a whole, though, that's why I look at these mergers and I'm like, maybe I'm just too dumb to totally understand, but I think the industry is massively over-agented. I think it's radically underproductive. I think the average agent completed 10 transactions last year. I don't think that's primarily an agent problem. I think it's a market problem. I think it is a real estate industry problem because we've created an asset class that is not infrastructure the way we all think it is, because we all need to live in a home, but we've created it as an asset. But I think it's also a broken operating system problem. I think the future belongs to fewer, better, obviously AI-powered agents. The same way when I got into the business early on, I was competing against agents. They didn't know how not to advertise in the New York Times. That is where they would get all their traffic. That's where they would get all of their open house traffic. And this seems crazy because it was 2008. The internet had been around for a long time. A lot of people had dial-up 10 years prior, but they only used it for email. Everything else was still in paper. And I think having hundreds of thousands of people manually pushing paperwork through disconnected systems is not the way of the future. Every other firm I see is a subscription-based business, or it's run by a total wacko. So like, I don't know. Who else is out there? Also, I am very much, and I've said this incredibly publicly, I say this to all of our agents, I am in the make money business. I am still trying to find a CEO of a real estate company that is also in that business, and which means that they're making money somewhere.
Right.
And it's on the backs of salespeople.
Give me an example. Can you be specific? Give me an example of what that looks like.
How much money does Real make? How much money does EXP make? How much money does Fathom make? How much money does LPT make? How much money does LMNOZ? I don't even know what the fuck these companies are making. They are subscription-based businesses that want to grab market share, and they either make money on the backs of recruiting or on selling services. I've interviewed people at Real. Like right when the CEO of Real, he got in trouble for sexual harassment or something, or he was dating his own agents or some bullshit psychopath stuff. Like a bunch of his people like tried to leave, and we were always, sure, let's take interviews. Like, so what's it like to be at the brokerage? Oh, no, we're not a real estate brokerage. We're a fintech company. The fuck does that mean? Where you make, well, we're finding different ways to make money off of our agents. We sell them different services and different fees and different this and different that. And then they ask me, they're like, how do you operate? You're so expensive. Me? I'd rather have a brutally honest agreement and conversation with the salesperson who's willing to work with us and not secretly nickel and dime them forever. And maybe that's just because I do this and I know how the business works. Yeah. But, a lot of the agents that work for us, one, we get a lot of flack because they're young, and they are. Like we have agents who are older, and I love it because I'm like, great, please help train these kids who are growing up in the industry and they've grown up with me. Yeah. And I think there is no better brand platform to build an incredible opportunity for yourself and for your career than us, which is why we're moving so fast. Less agents, more tech, which brings me to your simple platform, which you call the DoorDash for work. Tell me a little bit about that, but also tell me, is it a productivity tool that lets agents do 3x more, or is it a way to reduce headcount, or both? It's a way to reduce headcount. I mean, my agent productivity, I think, is already the highest in the industry because we don't take agents who do less than $10 million a year in most states, and we don't take principal agents who do less than $50 million a year. And I'm not trying to build the biggest company to then figure out what to do with people. I'm trying to build the best. Brand reputation is incredibly important. There was an agent we hired on Friday, one of those 2044. So maybe we're 2043 right now, who, I got a DM this morning at 7 a.m. from somebody screenshotted something awful that this person that we just hired apparently said to a potential client over text. And we immediately checked into it, immediately went through it. He had a whole defense and he was in the moment and he's had a rough weekend, this, that, the other. 100% fired immediately. One strike policy. I don't care. And he does a lot of business, came from another big firm, a lot of business. I'm like, dude, if that's the way you are 2 days before you officially start with me, imagine the way you've been as a human being for the last 20 years, let alone for the next 2 years going forward. Absolutely not. I think you asked about simple, not about behavior, but listen, I think the last 20 years were about who could scale agents and listings. And I think there's a lot of firms who are still trying to do that, scale agents and listings. I think the next 10 at least, we'll see about 20, are about who owns the underlying AI layer of that customer journey, from first search to final signature. My mission, other than just helping people move forward, right? We help our buyers move forward. We help our sellers move forward, our agents move forward in their careers, our staff move forward.
Yeah.
Is to create, one, the only AI native real estate firm in the country, which we are, but then also a platform, which is what Simple is, that automates operations, enhances pricing and marketing, gives every salesperson the leverage of a full agentic support team, because technology powers the process, but people drive the outcome. And I don't think that
do you ever see that product being a standalone? You can sell it into other groups, or is it always the secret sauce that you build at?
We get asked all the time. Potentially, we're releasing Simple 2 in September. It's been a huge amount of my time and work, but it's also just been fun because it's just a different part of my brain compared to what I've done over a long period of time here. So potentially, I think we have to see how it goes.
So you are obviously incredibly successful, brilliant, and you have an opportunity to advise the CEO of Inman of what the hell he should do to make Inman the most relevant, high-performing media network related to residential real estate. What would you tell him?
I think you're already doing it by doing this, because now you'll have this, and I think you're banking these episodes before you put them out. And so you're controlling narrative, which is really important. And you're also connecting to the characters that you write about. Right. News is great if you connect to the characters you write about, but if the news now doesn't have perspective, then it's just news, and you don't need it.
100%.
So I think you're doing a great job of bringing perspective to a very, very respected news brand. And you're also doing something I think we talked about, maybe I can't remember, when we first met the first time, in building out your advisory board.
Yeah.
Like surround yourself. It's one of the first things I did when I first started, because I have no idea. Like when we started Serhant, man, like I it's like, what, I had to talking to agents in California and Atlanta. I was like, wait, how do you do deals? You what? Really? And I'm like going, so we built and we continue to update it, and this, that, the other, an advisory board of just great salespeople around the country. Now it's around the world because of sellit.com. And I think it's really, really important. You got to hear from your constituents, of what they want to see, what they want to hear. And I think you're doing a really, really great job with that.
Well, I appreciate that. So let's talk about Sell It for a minute, because I find that really fascinating. You obviously have a multimedia approach to everything you're doing here. Sell It is a place where people can get trained and credentialed. How does that sit against the Tom Ferrys of the world and some of those other players out there?
Where do I even want to start? I think Tom Ferry's awesome. I think he's the man. I've known him for a long time. I think anybody who devotes their life and their career to educating others, I tip my hat to you, because you could be doing other things. I learned a lot from Brian Buffini when I first got into the business. I think I still have those DVDs somewhere. Sell It for me initially was an extension of the book, right? I wrote Sell It Like Serhant. People bought that thing all over the world. It's like, all right, so what do I do? So I did a TV show called Sell It Like Serhant for Bravo. That ruined my life for 4 months. And that was an exercise I can't ever do again. Like that took me out of selling, and that hurt that year for me. I'm like, well, how do I connect to all these people? I'm getting hundreds of emails a day at that time from people reading the book and wanting to work with us. And I don't work with these people all over the world. And so I guess they could just follow me on social I can add them to my mailing list. I can try to save everyone's contact, but how do I create a community? And there was no Patreon back then. There was, in 2018 and 2019, none of these kind of community apps. It's like, okay, so you know what? I really do like encouraging people. I do like helping people. I love, like, I may like get teary eyed, but like one of our Sell It members, Paulina Matson, okay. She was one of the earliest adapters of Sell It, back when it was Sell It like Serhant before it became sellit.com and stuff. A mom in Arizona, listened to everything we taught, like took it all to heart, did the actual work, then said, whenever Serhant's got to come to Arizona, we were only in New York City. It's like, Arizona? What's the temperature? Eventually we start expanding.
The temperature's hell. That's the temperature.
We tap on everyone's shoulder. She becomes a founding member of Serhant Arizona, one of our founding agents. And she just sold 2 weeks ago now, the single most expensive single family home to ever sell in the state of Arizona. And like, that is the difference between Sell It and everybody else. One, it's led by a guy that actually does this, because when she was doing that deal and calling me, we have a broker of record, she can call anybody, and asking about how, different ways to negotiate and what's happening in the marketplace right now, not just from an educator, but from an operator, from an executor. And we are incredibly helpful that way. And two, we give people a path towards career brilliance here at Sell It, and not just scripts and information. I think a lot of the real estate educators, just like most digital education and coaching right now across the board, you see this with a lot of these companies, are having a really, really hard time in the era of Claude and ChatGPT, right? For $20 a month, you could go into an LLM and ask it to coach you, like it's not the same.
It's not. It's wildly different. Yeah.
It's not so far off sometimes, but we have great coaches. We have an awesome app, a huge community, and there's a ton of referral business. And so that's really our community angle. So for me, it's content to community to code. That's simple. To commerce. That's the brokerage. That is my flywheel. And I just spin it all day long. It's studios to Sell It, to Simple, to Serhant the brokerage, and then round.
Love the flywheel concept. Absolutely love the flywheel concept. Use it all the time. One of the things that really fascinates me about you, and it shouldn't, because obviously you're successful and it should be part and parcel to it, but you are incredibly dialed into the day-to-day business. I used the example of the Naples Fort Myers team, and they're talking about how we're getting DMs and we're getting calls from Ryan Serhant at 9:30 at night recruiting us. You're not passing this off to your team. You are literally hands-on. What is the discipline underneath the speed, and how do you keep that going, with you at the head of it?
I have awesome people. I surround myself with people that are so much better at things than me, so that they can make me look good. So that story, is not just me waking up and saying, let me just do all the things.
Check someone in Naples.
It's Yasser Ponce, who runs the state of Florida. It's Tiffany McQuaid, in Naples. It's our individual leaders and managers and just great people around us who are helping guide me, and they coach me as much as they coach and work with all of our salespeople to sell more and more and more. I've got a awesome team here, from finance, which I'm very, very close to our operations team. My chief business officer, Jen Elise, has been here today. Actually, I don't know when you're going to air this. Today is Jen's 11-year anniversary with us. And that's when I had a team. She started in 2015 and then helped us start the business. And so I'm incredibly loyal to my people, potentially to a fault, but I really, really appreciate it, because you can work anywhere and they just make me better.
Owning Manhattan is without a doubt a recruiting and lead gen engine, right? And what happens when that gets the call that, hey, sorry, Ryan, we're good, we're moving on to something else? Does that slow you guys down, or can you keep the juggernaut moving?
Owning Manhattan is like a magazine for me. Like, it is a ton of work.
Yeah.
It's a ton of production. And you do this annual magazine and you put it out there, and it's there, and people are either going to read it or not read it. So it's definitely helpful. But in terms of our operations, I think if Instagram shut down or TikTok shut down or LinkedIn shut down or YouTube shut down, we'd have like a problem, and we'd have to pivot to whatever the new platform would be. Our ability to drive share of voice across agent and consumer mind share 24/7 across social platforms from Tokyo to Toledo is unlike anything that exists in this business. And it drives not just lead flow for salespeople, but also like real deal flow. I like, there's a reason. I mean, I do green screen sessions 3 days a week. I've yet to figure out how AI can fix that. I've tried. It's like Robot Ryan, like, welcome to 123 Main Street. And it just is, I'm like, fuck, man, I got to do this by myself.
All right, here I have an idea. Okay, this is going to be probably the biggest fundraiser in the history of residential real estate. Okay, very media savvy. This decision here, but you got to tell me two things: whether you're in, and who walks away the winner. Okay, we go WWE style. We do a steel cage match in Madison Square Garden with you and Robert Refkin. Who walks out the winner? That shouldn't take that.
I like Robert too much. I have a good relationship with Robert. Unfortunately, I think we'd probably just hug it out and then split the proceeds. That's probably what would happen, or we would set up, if it's WWE or F, like we'd set up a thing. I'm like, all right, so just like kick me in my right knee because it kind of hurts. And I'll go down hard, and then we can.
You'd script it all out ahead of time and walk away with the proceeds. I love it.
No physical violence for me, unless you come at my people, and then I will fight back.
I agree. He's a great dude, but that would be a fun scenario. So when are we going to do owning Fort Myers? Because last time you made the comment about Fort Myers being where Brooklyn was 20 years ago, my house values went up about 5%. So let's do more of that.
My God, I said something the other day. When was it? Or the other month? Bluffton, South Carolina.
I saw that.
And I get equal parts. Thank you so much for putting Bluffton on the map, and equal parts. How dare you? I can no longer get a table at my favorite restaurant now. I have no pick in this battle. I just really appreciate the job growth in Bluffton. I think there's easy access to the Savannah airport. And so it's just, I think it's, it's a great, and I get very excited about Waymo. When we opened in San Francisco, one of our meetings, I was sitting there. I was like looking around, and all these development sites and spots are no longer going to be buildings. They've all been bought by Google, and they are Waymo parking lots. If Google's not buying land for data centers, they're buying land for Waymo parking lots, just like Amazon, right? Buying land for logistics centers so they could get Prime and put a toothbrush in your hand in 2 hours. You want to be able to have a Waymo outside, you need to have the actual car there. And I think the real estate values on the fringe become incredibly valuable. So my eye on, once that comes into your standard car, that is a major game changer.
I don't think it's too far away. And I actually was in Phoenix and did Waymo, and it was it definitely tightens you up a little bit, worried about it. Okay, what's something almost everyone in real estate believes today that we're going to be laughing about in 10 years and go, wow, we were wrong?
I could be totally wrong, but I think everyone believes that real estate starts with search. And this battle over Zillow, and the battle over the consumer, and the battle over search. I think search was solved. I think the transaction was not. And I think everyone fighting for search is not the battle that I would be in. I think consumers can find almost every home from their couch on any platform, and they're not going to go to one specific place.
Yeah.
Like, not just going to go to Serhant or Compass or Zillow or whatever the heck the next thing is going to be, right? They're going to be told where to go.
Does Google change that? Google's leaning in heavily now. Do they change that? Because they win on
Google was in it before. They had their listings there before. What made Zillow so powerful wasn't just the data. It was the quality and the policing of the data. Like you can have all the listings you want. Sure. Set up a API, like everyone set it up. Like you can do it. You can search anywhere you want. But if they're not real, or if they're fake, or if they're messy, or if that actually sold already, or if there's no one on the other side of that phone call, like you have one shot with the consumer. They're going to try your thing once. Nah, it didn't really work. And then they're going to go back to what they knew best. That's why it was, the first time you took your iPhone out of that magnetically sealed box and you turned it on, you saw the little apple and everything just turned on in 30 seconds. You're like, whoa, you weren't used to that. So I think the next great real estate company, and maybe there's people just aren't focused on this right now, it's not going to win by showing consumers more listings. It'll win by actually removing steps. I think that listing portal was the defining product of Brokerage 2.0. I think that transaction layer will be the defining product of 3.0.
Okay, this is our rapid fire segment of this. I'm going to throw out some topics and you're going to say whether they're signal or noise, one word answer. And then if you want to elaborate on why, well, we can talk about that. Okay, you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Billionaire bunkers, signal or noise?
Signal.
What do they know, Ryan? Because you hang out with these types of people now. Do I need a bunker?
We tell them. Yeah, no, it's land maxing. No, of course. What else are you going to do with your money? Like
build a bunker.
As a hedge. In 2022, we did significant land max billionaire transactions everywhere around the country. And it was more of a hedge against inflation, which is what happened. And they were smart, those property values. I sold a house in 2021 in Palm Beach for $133 million. I think today, maybe it's worth $300 million. That was a hedge against inflation. That was also land maxing oceanfront in what is the only oceanfront state with the best tax policy. It's just that one state. That's it. Texas is good, but there's not a whole lot of people getting excited about the Gulf, It's
except for Fort Myers, Ryan, right?
Fort Myers is great. We were 50% sold at one Fort Myers, by the way.
Yes, you are. I love it there. I love that.
And the Chionis has sold the penthouse. I mean, they crush it. They're the best.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, CoStarHomes.com mega merger with Zillow. If it ever happens, is that signal or is it noise?
Noise.
Absolute noise. Could it happen?
Sure. I don't think the board of CoStar will let them get into the residential space ever again. But again, that is a fight for search. It's going back to what we just talked about. Instead of spending all of this money, time, and effort on protecting where we've been, why not invent something new? Why not build for where we're going? Why? I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
AI will replace the agent. Signal or noise?
Noise. Oh, it sounds so stupid because it's so obvious, but AI doesn't replace the real estate agent. It replaces the real estate agent that doesn't use AI. That's it.
Yeah.
The internet didn't replace Fidelity. It didn't put investment bankers out because you could go and invest. What it does is it creates more investors. So AI, what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing a slowdown in the growth of agents or opportunity for us. That's why we're opening in so many markets. One reason why you're seeing the opportunity for more. The barrier of entry was a little bit higher prior to. It's a lot of work. Even before social, to get into real estate, you had to know people, you had to create relationships, and you still have to do that. But now, what we do, I have agents, their entire lead flow is through DM. We have agents here who are here, but they are based, a significant amount of their business, I would say north of 80% is all in Asia. They repurpose Serhant branded content, put themselves in it, and push organic storytelling on Redbook, I think it's called. Yeah. We're the most followed real estate brand in Asia, and it drives all their lead flow. They make millions and millions of dollars that way. So I think it's the agent who uses the current technology and they innovate wins over everybody else.
Okay, last question. We're going to get you to your next meeting. Simple becomes sentient. Okay?
Oh, I hope so.
and starts closing deals better than you, do you fire it or name it as a partner and put its name on the door?
It will close
It
deals.
will.
Oh, 100%. It will. It, like what I have seen from our engineering team and what they've been able to build. And we have some of the best minds in the industry that I've pulled, in part, huge credit to our CTO, Greg Chan, who spent the first 20 years of his career at Microsoft and Amazon. And he has assembled like the Avengers. Like, simple, we'll be able to go from discovery, so not search, discovery to close. And you just were never able to do it before because you didn't have agentic AI to lead the way. Everything was push and start previously. But yeah, I think so. And I think that in 10 years, 5 years actually, I think that'll feel incredibly normal, and we will laugh at the time when agents did contracts. We will laugh at the time when you'd have to follow up by email with inspectors or with lenders or with attorneys, and you're coordinating everything. If you buy a house right now, how do you know where you are in the point of your transaction?
Yeah.
And it's 2026. Like, it's crazy. I don't know.
Ryan Serhant, a rock star in the industry. You still have the best hair in the industry, and I still hate you for it. So we're going to end on that. But we love having you and love your involvement and appreciate everything you're doing, man.
You're the man. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for listening to Signal. Follow us on Instagram at Inman News for more conversations and industry insights. And be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. I'll see you next time.